One of the people that followed Fair Cop was Suella Braverman, and I thought she was a great Home Secretary, partly because she had a couple of meetings with us, which is great, and followed us very early on, which is also great. But she also spoke some uncomfortable truths. One of the uncomfortable truths that she spoke, and which ultimately led to her being sacked, was that in this country we have two-tier policing. One of the fundamentals of policing, as Robert Peel imagined it, is that we would have a police force which was entirely apolitical. A police force where you couldn't guess what their politics were. They were vanilla, politically vanilla. Unfortunately, Suella Braverman, like Fair Cop, noticed the fact that the police were operating in a way that seemed to suggest that they did in fact have a political agenda. They would police in favour of queer theorists. They policed in favour of LGBT ideology. They policed in favour of Black Lives Matter. When you see the police taking the knee for George Floyd and BLM, you cannot but come to the conclusion that they have political sympathy with that movement. That is entirely wrong. We don't need to know what the police think about anything other than see them upholding the law. That's it. I always say that the police need to take the example of Her late Majesty. We didn't have a clue what Her Majesty thought about anything politically. She would simply smile, wave, and stay silent. That's the standard that we expect of our police force. Unfortunately, for reasons to do, I think, with historical guilt over the way they perceive that they treated the black community and the gay community, and over this crazy desire to be on the right side of history, the police have adopted a political position, and I think that's plainly obvious. When they kneel to Black Lives Matter, we can tell that they have a political sympathy with a Marxist ideology behind Black Lives Matter. When they raise the trans flag, we can tell that they have a political leaning towards the ideology of LGBTQ and Stonewall. You can tell when they deal with Palestinian supporters in a way that is entirely different to the way that they treat Jews or people who are wearing the Star of David. You cannot help but come to the conclusion that the police are taking a political stance, and that they have political favourites. And we don't want that. That's all Fair Cop wants. We want to look at a police force and not have a clue where they stand on anything politically. Now, of course, the police will occasionally get things wrong. Occasionally, they will make an unjust arrest. Occasionally, they will get the facts wrong and investigate somebody where it was entirely unjustifiable. You have to allow that, because the police are like us. They're human. They make mistakes. But when the mistakes that the police make always seem to favour one particular group, one side of the political spectrum, at that point, I think it's very reasonable to conclude that they have been politically infiltrated and that they are now no longer operating without fear or favour. I don't want to see anything on a police uniform other than a name, a rank, a number, and the little insignia that tells you what force they're from. I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to see rainbow epaulets. I don't want to see Black Lives Matter. I don't want to see a Palestine sign. I don't even want to see a cross. I don't want to see anything that might give the impression that you are going to police with a degree of favour and with a degree of bias. Wearing that symbol does nothing other than diminish your position as a police officer and degrade that the trust of the public that you will operate beyond and above your own personal beliefs in order to police strictly to Peelian principles.